Hello, everyone. It's good to see you on YouTube. It's nice to be back. I've taken a little bit of a break, mostly because I was in the middle of writing The Time Wealthy Advantage. And for those of you who have followed me for a while, know I've been working on that book for a while. And you're like, dude, either do it or don't do it, but stop talking about it. So grateful to have the book done. For those of you who actually want to get a copy of the book, I'll go ahead and get that shown to you right here. It is The Time Wealthy Advantage. And if you'd like to buy it on Amazon, you can buy it there. However, I will tell you, you can get it cheaper if you go to a link posted on the show notes. And also, I can sign it. In addition to that, I'm also going to give you a free 45-minute one-to-one coaching session with me. It's not going to be handed off to someone else. So just go ahead, click on the link. You can buy that there. And it's actually cheaper if you use this link, even if you don't want the coaching session, but you do want the book. It's still cheaper if you use this link rather than going to Amazon. There's also something else that if you are interested in is now all four guides are not listed on here, but so three of the four. The fourth one is actually due in on Saturday, but once I get that, I'll start showing different photos, obviously. But the lead generation sales, the sales guide is what's missing here. But lead generation, sales, accounting, and strategic one sheets guides are also going to be available for a little bit extra money on that same offer. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. All right. So I had a really interesting call just recently with a client who had attended a BNI meeting. I consider myself an avid networker, although I will tell with some introspection, I will say that my networking game isn't quite what it used to be. And I used to be, man about town, was seen everywhere, obviously networking, didn't know a stranger, that sort of thing. But since COVID, that changed things. And I don't really have a good excuse for it other than the fact I was just never really I got out of the routine and out of the rhythm and never really got back into it. And BNI was a big part of that. Now, I will say that, he was really asking me the context of asking me about the BNI meeting, and what I thought of BNI was he has a local type business. I'm not going to say exactly what the business is, but it's a local type business. It's a local repair type business, and and servicing many B2B type customers. So he's the B serving other Bs, business to business. And it was interesting because I got thinking about the effectiveness of BNI when I was in. Now, I will tell you, I have made amazing relationships from my time in BNI. In fact, in a indirect way, I actually met my wife through BNI, and I have met amazing people. I have had amazing experiences. I was in BNI for 14 years altogether. I had served in many different leadership capacities, not only in my chapter, but also as an ambassador, as a director, as an area director. I had attended national conferences. I attended international conferences. I got to know many other directors and area directors and franchise owners. In addition, I'm also friends with the founder, the Ivan Misner, and we're friends on Facebook. And I would consider him a friend. And in fact, he endorsed my first book. This is my second book, as you just saw. But my first book is The Time Wealthy Investor 2.0, and he is the endorsement. He's the top endorsement right there for this book. So to say that BNI had an impact on my life would be understating BNI. I owe a lot of my success to BNI. Is it so? You might be thinking, well, why did you step away from BNI? When I was in BNI, I was originally going in, and I was in as an investor, and then I went in and changed my seat to a property manager. Now, for those of you who might understand BNI, there's a lot of contractors in BNI, and having those contractors as a resource for me as a property manager was absolutely invaluable. If I needed a painter, I had 4 or 5 different painters at my disposal at any given time. Not to mention people outside of BNI. In my town, there was 5 BNI chapters, but I was also had access to all of these other people in BNI who were in different parts of the state that I was also doing property management in. If I needed a painter, if I needed a plumber, if I needed an HVAC person, I mean, I had basically my run of some of the finest people in the industry because they were members of BNI. And the reason why I say they're among the finest is because BNI has standards. You have to show up. You have to participate. You have to be involved. And they really understood the philosophy of BNI, which was givers gain. That if you give first, you will get as a result of that. So again, it really worked well with me in a lot of different ways. So all that to say, why did I step away? Well, at the time I had shifted from my property management side of the business to the um, to coaching. And because I had shifted from property management to coaching, it was sorry, I'm just going to message here. Okay. Because I had shifted from property management to coaching, I was traveling a lot more, and I was traveling and doing a lot of things from like I was getting on airplanes and I was speaking all over the place. And this is back in my landlord coach days when I was speaking a lot and teaching a lot on real estate, uh, coaching on real estate. So I was speaking a lot, had to get back on an airplane for my Tuesday BNI meeting and so forth, and it was a lot. It was a lot to try to navigate. And I decided, and then COVID came along, and me doing the BNI meetings on Zoom just did not wind my clock at all. And I decided it was, as much as it was a difficult decision to come to, that my time in BNI had pretty much come to an end. Now, I say that because I was so niched down in BNI, it was a little difficult for people to get referrals from me. And it's not for lack of trying. They really legitimately were trying to get me referrals. But I was really looking for very specific types of property managers, very specific type of real estate investors, and it was just difficult for people to get me referrals. So after a while, I made that decision and I stepped away. And I will honestly tell you, I do miss it. But the crux of this video is BNI worth it? Is it worthwhile? Is it worth the obviously there's a financial investment, there's a massive time investment as well. But the time investment is probably the bigger investment because it's not just about the 90 minutes once a week. It's what you do after the meeting. It's what you do outside the meeting and things called one-to-ones, where you're meeting with the individual chapter members, and not just people inside your chapter, but even people outside of your chapter. And they call those one-to-ones. And it's a big investment in time, and certainly a big financial investment as well. Although the financial investment, in my opinion, you can get back literally within the first month if you are active with it. So, is it worthwhile? I think for a local type business, a local type contracting business, bankers, realtors, those types of service oriented businesses, they do extremely well with BNI. I think for other types of businesses, still with a local focus, I think they do extremely well also. And those might be advertisers, they might be bankers, um, chiropractors, doctors, dentists. I know that they tend to do pretty well with that. Again, we're talking about a local focus. Where I seem to say, where I think where it starts to have a disconnect is when you are trying to make more of a national imprint. And that's what I was trying to do with Landlord Coach, because I recognized that there wasn't enough people locally that could keep me busy. So I did, by design, have more of a national footprint. Now, since then, I have niched up a little bit. I've niched up and away from just strictly real estate coaching and gone more towards being a business strategist, a life and business strategist. So my footprint is significantly larger, right? Well, I won't say larger. My avatar is more loosely defined, not so strict around real estate, but more specific. I like working with small business owners who are married, who have kids at home, whose life is extremely busy. Those are the folks I really like working with. Would it make sense for me to step back into a BNI chapter now? I can make the argument for yes, but I will also tell you, and after I visited a BNI chapter recently, that And having talked to my wife, many of you know we have 3 children. One is 19, one is 17, and the other is 2. It really, if we were going to spend that kind of time, my wife and I decided that it just wouldn't be the best use of my time, because my time is fairly limited now, and I do want to be spending as much time as I can. Our 19-year-old has since moved out, but our 17-year-old, he is, I've only got limited time with him before he graduates and starts his life. So we decided that I would not be joining a BNI chapter, and decided to do networking in other ways. So I would say for 99% of the people out there that BNI probably makes sense if you are in business for yourself. I would say that there are very rare cases where it would not be. Probably the biggest sense is if you don't have a really well-defined avatar, it's going to force you to get really defined. Because if you start using words like anybody and everybody, you're going to get anybody and everybody, which means broke people, which means people don't have any money, or it might be people who necessarily aren't in your trade area or outside of what it is that you do. So you got to be really specific. And that's the one thing that I really loved about BNI is the professional education and the professional involvement. And it just raised my game all the way around. It certainly made me a better speaker, because I had to be, because you would give your 5 or 10 minute presentations, depending on the chapter, once once every quarter or so, or sometimes once a year, depending on how large the chapter was. You would have to do that. You'd have to get up and speak, and sometimes in every chapter you would get up and give your 60-second commercial during the BNI meeting. So there was lots of professional development that I really, really appreciated about BNI. And so I don't know. I think for most people it does make sense. I would say far and away, well and above 90%. But if nothing else, just check it out. You can go to BNI.com. And again, this is not a commercial for BNI. It was just someone had asked me about it, so I thought it would make a good video. But go to BNI.com. You can see chapters all over the place, and there probably is one that's within driving distance to you. They literally have tens of thousands of chapters across like 70 different countries. So even if I know there's people who watch this from outside the United States. Even if you're outside the United States, I promise there may be a chapter within driving distance of where you're at. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. And here's one other quick thing. What I would say is, shop around a little bit. If there's multiple chapters that are within your driving distance and within your area, check them out, because every chapter has a slightly different flavor, and they're all run exactly the same. And doesn't matter where you go. I mean, I can pretty much know just from memory where you're at in the meeting, just based on what's happening, because whether I understood the language or not, because I just know the agenda so well. I've literally been in, easy to say, thousands of meetings, just because not only my own chapter meetings, but when I was a director and area director, I visited other chapters quite often. So shop around a little bit, because there may be one that's a little bit better vibe for you. Don't just join the first one that you see. So that's all I have. One quick thing. Again, I already mentioned the book, so if that is something that is interesting to you, you can go ahead and check this out. There's a link down below. But one other thing I do want to offer, and this doesn't have a cost at all, is if you'd like to join the Facebook community, it's called the Time Wealthy Advantage. That link is also down below. Just, allows me to share videos and other things in there, some trainings that I have coming up from time to time on Eventbrite, or just randomly do, like today, we're having a flash networking session. So whoever wants to join is welcome to join, and who's not. But here's the one thing is, just don't be a jerk. If you're a jerk, you're going to get the golden boot, because we just don't put up with nonsense. Be kind, be nice, be respectful, and you and I will never have a problem. That's all I have, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you guys next time.